Yo, so what's going on, guys? Big Time Killer here, and today, well, pretty much what this video is going to be is one of my friends, me and one of my other friends, we've been really getting interested in Bitcoin lately and investing in Bitcoin and just like the extremely high potential that the that currency offers and investing in it can could lead to in the future in the long run based off analysis and all the other sorts of stuff, but one of my other friends that we were because we've been talking about it the past few days. One of my other friends was wondering like about it, what it was, how to get into it. So pretty much, I'm just gonna make a video, and for anybody that is curious in Bitcoin or has heard it but not isn't really sure what it is or like if they should get into it or not, this is just gonna be a couple. It's gonna be a video talking about the different sites that you would need to get into it, and pretty much like what the basics are to getting into Bitcoin. All right, so I should probably start off by just telling pretty much what Bitcoin is, which it's a virtual currency which you can use. You can buy Bitcoin and sell Bitcoin, and it's an asset, is a lot of people look at it as. So it's pretty much a digital asset. So you can buy certain amounts of it and stuff like that. You can buy one Bitcoin, which is right now it's worth over $8,000 for one Bitcoin. You can buy parts of a Bitcoin. So yeah, it's pretty much it's a digital currency. Not a ton of sites have it. You can't just go to Amazon and pay with Bitcoin or anything like that. Like certain sites, like gambling sites and stuff. Like if I wanted to go or sports betting sites, like if you want to go on Bovada, which is a pretty popular sports betting site, you that's one of their main payment. That's pretty much the main payment method there is Bitcoin. And because a lot of country like it's not really a standard because it's not regulated at all by anybody. So it's kind of like a lot of countries, like China banned it, so a lot of countries are wary of Bitcoin and the risks that it is involved with it. But it's been like over the last year, it's gotten it's I think it's I don't know when it started. I think around like 2013. So it's not it's or maybe it was 2011, but it was really small back in 2013 anyway. But it's just it's been exploding kind of over the last year is when it's been getting a lot of popularity. I mean, a little bit more mainstream, even though a lot of people still don't really understand what Bitcoin is. But yeah. So what you can do, you can buy Bitcoin, and then you can with just money, you can pretty much link your account, like your bank account, and then you can buy Bitcoin, and with that you can just buy goods. Like if you wanted to go on and do some online gambling, not that I'm recommending it or anything, but you could use Bitcoin for that. And that's the reason I got into it because I wanted to. I was using Bovada to bet on sports, and that was really like the only way that I could deposit money was Bitcoin, and also to withdraw money is Bitcoin, which it was like really easy once I learned about Coinbase and got into it. So it was like kind of intimidating at first because I didn't really know what Bitcoin was or how to use it. Just kind of this mythical thing, this like weird online currency thing that no one like ever really talks about. But once you start looking into it, it actually like becomes really interesting. So yeah, so I started doing that, and then I was never really interested in investing in it, but over the past like week, me and my friend have been talking about it and like just the potential, and I saw what it's done over the past few months. But I'm still a little wary, but I've learned a lot more and done a lot more research about it, so that's why I decided to make this video because I've been a little bit more knowledgeable over the past week about what Bitcoin is and if it's a good investment or not in the long run. But pretty much where you want to start if you're interested in Bitcoin is Coinbase, which is this website. And pretty much what Coinbase lets you do is link your bank account or your credit card or your debit card to this. You can go over to settings or accounts or whatever. You can go to settings and then you can link your bank account or a credit card. I'm not gonna do that just so it doesn't show any information. But then you can go over here and you can buy and sell. You can buy and sell either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin, which is those are the three. Like Bitcoin is the main one, and those are kind of like altcoins, is what they're called. They're just kind of like alternate currencies. They're pretty much the same thing. They're also online like digital currencies, but Bitcoin is obviously the biggest one, as you can tell just by the price per coin. But Ethereum's been really popular as well lately. I'll talk about that a little bit later. What you can do, you pretty much you go on here, you link your bank account or your card or whatever, as a payment method, and then you have a limit depending on if you link your bank or your credit card. But and then you can just all you do is I could hit like buy max, and for the bank, or there's actually a fee I got on the on Coinbase. There is a fee whenever you deposit. I think if it was a lot less, it'd be, yeah. It's not much on, like, if you're only depositing like 50 or 100 bucks, like $2 there, $3. So depending on how much you deposit, there's a fee using either your bank account or your debit card. So there's another way that I'm going to talk about of how to deposit, how to buy Bitcoin pretty much. But you would deposit money, you buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin, probably either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Those are the two main ones. And then come over here, you see your portfolio, which is how much money you have in each of them. And I only have 66 cents right now, but because I'm planning to invest later on, or in the near future once there's a bigger dip. And it's pretty much like the stock market. As Bitcoin, the price is very volatile. Like, it goes up and down a lot, as you can see just by like over the past week. I mean, between 7,200 and 8,300, just been up and down, like the stock, like you'd see at the stock market. Except there's like 13% up from last week, so there's a lot more room for profit. There's also a lot more room for loss. So you got to make sure that you're investing on one of these dips so you don't lose a bunch of money, even though over the long term it's been mainly going up, as you can see with the yearly projection. So you buy your Bitcoin, you buy however much money you want of that Bitcoin, and then you can pretty much, you can leave it in here and just wait. And then as the market goes up or down, you can see your money go up or down, obviously, like the stock market. But as you can see, why me and my friend have been really interested. Just look at this trend over the last year. Over the last year, it's gone up 1,000%. So that's that's pretty substantial. I mean, if you put in like 1,000, but that's multiplying your profits by 100, or by 10, I should say, not 100, but that's like 10 times multiplying your profits over the last year if you were to put in money. So it's just, the growth has been substantial, especially as more and more companies kind of start to get involved with Bitcoin. Like Amazon, I'm not really 100% sure about what they're doing, but I think they bought out like 3 domains or websites or something like associated with Bitcoin. So they're kind of just waiting, like everyone else, for the future if Bitcoin actually gets bigger. And then if Amazon ever decided to use Bitcoin as a payment method, that would shoot up the market substantially. But another thing about Bitcoin is how Bitcoin is generated is like a mining process, which I'm not 100% sure about. Like, I know the basics is that Bitcoin, the currency is mined and by like computer algorithms, and you can actually do that if you have a good enough GPU. You can get a program called NiceHash, and you can actually mine Bitcoin and make like $2 or $3 a day. Which, I mean, if you have a good GPU, but it also puts a lot of strain on it. So I don't know if I'd recommend it personally, unless you have like just a bunch of money and you don't really care about your graphics card. But it's a digital currency. It's mined by computers going through all these like difficult algorithms and stuff. I don't really know too much about that, but and then there's only a certain amount, so it's a finite resource. So I think 21 million is the number of the amount of Bitcoin that they're like 21 million Bitcoin is the amount that like the cap, the market cap or whatever. Not the market cap, but just the total amount of Bitcoins that can be mined. So I think right now there's around 16 million that have been mined. So projected by like 2020 or 2021, it's gonna hit the max, and then if the demand keeps going up and it's obviously the the resource isn't gonna there's gonna be not gonna be any more Bitcoin. So if the demand keeps going up, obviously the prices are gonna go way up, and that's pretty much what people are projecting. And why some people think that Bitcoin could hit like 100,000, or even $1 million in the next 10 years, which would be that's why a lot of people are interested in it. Even if you want to invest just like $100, $50, it could be worth it in the long run. Because if it ever got up to that much, you'd be multiplying your money like over 100-fold. If it went from 8,000, if you got in at around 8,000, went up to 1 million, it's like 125 times as much. So if you put in like $100, I mean $12,000 just from putting in $100 over 10 years, that's pretty good. If you had 1,000, obviously do the math, keep going up by 10. But put in $1,000, you have $125,000, which is just it's kind of mind blowing if you think about it. Over like 10 years, that kind of return on investment is just not heard of in like stock trade in the stock market anyway. It's such small percentages in the stock market over long periods of time. You need a lot of money really to kind of get into it. You got to keep investing in the stock market, keep putting money in to see a good amount of return on investment. But yeah, and also Ethereum people. Oh yeah, so I'll actually so Ethereum people think that I think there's something about it like using it as a payment method that's better than Bitcoin. I'm not 100% sure. I probably should have looked into that more before the video. But some people project Ethereum to go higher than Bitcoin in the next year and a half. So it's only at 370 right now. So if people think they can get into the thousands and like even 10,000 in the next year and a half or year or so, because this has gone up 3,600% in the last year. Obviously, it's the newer currency, but and then it's been pretty high and pretty low, so it's been spiking a lot in the like over the few months, but mainly an upward trend, obviously, even though these peaks have been higher. So it has gone up and then kind of slowed back down and leveled out a little bit after these peaks. But if the analysts that think that the the Ethereum could go up by like higher than Bitcoin in the next year and a half, then you definitely would want to have some kind of money in Ethereum. Like even if it's a small amount, again, like I said, even with Bitcoin, if it's a small amount, but especially with this, because if it goes up to like 10,000 next year, that's a really good return on investment. And then I don't know a ton about Litecoin, so I couldn't tell you, but it looks like this peaked at around September, and then still been going up. Still a main trend upward. I don't know a ton about Litecoin though, so I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't want to give misinformation about it. But yeah, so as you can see with Bitcoin, it's been going up. There's always dips. It's very volatile. So over like this is just a week, and it goes from like 74 up to 8,000, back down. There's a dip here. Different things like hacks and stuff in the market can can affect and make it dip, but then it recovers really quick. I think like 30 million or 3 million or something like that. Bitcoin was stolen. It was hacked the other day, and I think it was this dip. It was at like it went down like 300 or 400 in over like at the nighttime, but then it recovered by the next day. Like within 12 hours, I already recovered back up to 8,000. Like personally, why I don't have any money in, I've been waiting. I kind of want to go back down towards like 75 to 7,800 before I invest, just because I think that it's gonna dip at some point in the next like week or so. It'd be really nice if it went back down to like around like low 7,000. I don't know if that'll happen, but yeah, so you can keep your money in here. I wouldn't really recommend keeping if you're gonna invest a large amount of money, like well, depending on how much you consider large amounts. For me, I want to put a few $100s in, and that's quite a bit of money for me. But if you're gonna put large amounts in, you don't really want to keep it in Coinbase because Coinbase has been like they're definitely the best known and like probably the most reliable for buying and selling and just Bitcoin in general. But there's not 100% security. So what you want to do if you're gonna get a large amounts of Bitcoin, you want to go to or you want to go to Amazon. I don't know you don't want to really go to a certain website, but you want to buy what's called a hard wallet, which is actually a physical like device. It's kind of like it kind of looks like a watch. Well, because I think so. I think the Trezor, it's called Trezor, is like the main one that I know, which is what my friend got. It's around $80 on Amazon. And what you do, you can pretty much transfer all your Bitcoin to that device, and it's a physical device. So and it generates like different passcodes every single time you like open it or try to get in. So it's pretty much impossible for people to hack it and take your Bitcoin. So if you're gonna be messing with a large amounts of Bitcoin, you definitely want to use a physical wallet like that. And I don't know about any other ones, but I just know Trezor. 'Cause that's what my friend has used. But that's what I'm gonna do. Like if I decide to invest a large amount of money in Bitcoin, I'm gonna buy a physical wallet to keep my Bitcoin in, so it's a lot more secure. So what else? There's also this site called GDAX, like I was talking about earlier with the with the fees associated with buying and selling Bitcoin. It's kind of, if you're buying a lot, the fees can be pretty substantial. So you don't really want to mess with those. So if you verify your Coinbase account, like I think you have to put in your address and you have to like take a picture of your license or something. You have to have a form of verification, so you're not a robot or something, and so they know that you're an actual person. And once you verify your account and everything, and do like the second step of verification on Coinbase, then you can go on here. You can go on GDAX, and there's pretty much zero fees associated if you use GDAX. It's just kind of more complicated, I guess, which I'm not 100% sure about because I haven't needed to buy it like a large amount yet, so I haven't completely looked into GDAX. But pretty much, if you verify your account, then you can go on here and you can do a limit order, which this is pretty much people buying and selling Bitcoin, like kind of peer to peer. I think peer to peer, but so you like put in like the amount you want to sell and the amount like you want to sell it for, and then you would want to hit like you. I know you'd want to hit post only. I don't know why it's not really showing up there. Not selected the order mix. I don't know why it's not letting me. Yeah, I don't know. Usually post only is checked off. So you want to have it on. Make sure that post only is checked off. And I would need to do more research about exactly like what you're supposed to enter here, or is the amount of Bitcoin per what. I think you just want to do like what it's selling for, like maybe a little bit under what it's selling for, just so it sells and someone will buy it. But or you're like pretty much what you want to buy the Bitcoin for, and because you can go straight from your bank and deposit money into here, and then with that money you can buy Bitcoin for without any fees associated. You can transfer straight from here to Coinbase and etc. Like and vice versa. I mean, not etc. But I don't know 100% about GDAX. I'm definitely gonna look more into it as I start to think about investing a large amount of money into Bitcoin and Ethereum, because this is probably the best way to buy a large amount. But then I just wanted to look at the Bitcoin predictions. Now these like two sites I have. I mean, I don't know the validity of them. I don't know what happened there. All right, so after that brief interruption, I kind of just like I was using this like Microsoft screen capture, and I like accidentally like brought the tab away, so it kind of messed everything up. But we're back, and the other thing I wanted to look at was the long term and not, yeah, more the long term forecast for Bitcoin. And this one right here is just based on like the last year and the trend that Bitcoin's been going in the graph of like how much it's been rising by over the past year. So if you do like a kind of a best fit curve, a best fit line through that data, it's projected to be around like 16,000 by March. So that's only like 4 months away. That's like less than 4 months. But some people think that it'll hit 10. Like this one doesn't really have it hitting 10,000 by the end of the year, but some analysts think that it's gonna hit 10,000, which it probably would because it's gonna be up and down this line. So it could peak above this line at some point, go above 10,000 in like by the end of December, which would be again another pretty substantial like 20% increase, I think, if you went from 8,000 to 10,000. So that would be another pretty substantial increase. So if you put in like $1,000, 20%, I mean, $200 in a month for doing nothing, pretty much. But that's a lot of ifs involved. So I tend to think that it's gonna keep going up because there's no reason it really wouldn't. There's no reason it's just gonna crash. But some people think that it's like a bubble that's just gonna pop. But I feel like a lot of people that say that about Bitcoin, they don't really trust it or whatever. Which they have problems because it's not regulated, and like you can use Bitcoin. That's People use Bitcoin and stuff for illegal action, since it's not really, you can't really trace it since it's like a peer-to-peer kind of thing. So there's a couple of like kind of things that kind of suck with Bitcoin where it makes it a little risky, but it's not really a bubble that's just gonna pop because it's just been going up over the past few years. And yeah, it's the if Bitcoin is like the big thing over in like 10 years or 5, 10 years, then and you get it now, you definitely want to be on the starting side of that and get in before like everyone else does to try to make as much money as possible. But yeah, so this it pretty much just has it keeps going up, and this projection has it around 16,000 by towards the end of March, which is only like less like I said, it's about 4 months away actually if you're looking at it towards the end of March. So that's about doubling its price in 4 months, which if there's no other really investment that you're gonna make, or you're gonna be able to double, like thinking about the stock market and stuff like that, you're not gonna be able to just double your money in that short period of time. And this is obviously this is ifs, like I said, like it's not for sure that it's gonna go up that high in the next 4 months, but there's a based on the trend and just based unless it just crashes for some reason, which I don't really see happening, then it's just gonna keep going up over the more months as more countries kind of get, because some countries actually have like accepted Bitcoin as a currency, and like unlike China who have who have banned Bitcoin or tried to ban Bitcoin and don't like it because it's not regulated. Some countries have accepted it, so it's just like it's getting more popular, it's getting more mainstream. And if bigger sites like Amazon and stuff like that start to use Bitcoin as payment methods, it's only gonna increase like tenfold, but or substantially, not really tenfold. But this is another one. This one has it hitting 10,000 in December, and then it doesn't. It has like going down in February a little bit. I don't know why it would go down between February or January and March, but I don't. Maybe there might be something happening in there. But then by March it has it going up to around 13,000, so around 3,000 less. And it has like kind of between 11,000 and 13 and 14,000 essentially. But then it has it going up to around 16,000 the next month. So just multiple predictions that have Bitcoin like really almost doubling within the next 6 months, which is just kind of crazy. And even if you look into 2019, like a little over a year from now, has it going above 30, 40,000, which is just if it was still going up that much, and you never know if something happens where it goes up even more substantially. This is just based on previous data and based on the trend that's been going on, like I said, based on this like best fit line. But something could happen where this spikes and then the best fit line gets steeper and goes higher, so it increases even more. But yeah, so that's pretty much it with Bitcoin. Ran likely under 8,000. This dip is good enough for buyers in order, in my opinion. This guy an hour ago is saying that it's probably not going to go under 8,000, and that an $8,100 is like a good enough dip to invest or buy orders. So yeah, just there's a lot of opinions. Will bounce around 8,100. Yeah, so I'm waiting for it to go below 8,000 before it might not. If it starts to kind of like go higher than like 83, 8,400, which has been like going between 83 and 8,100 the past few days, I'll probably just go for it if once it dips to like lower 8,000 or 8,100. If it stays consistently between like 8,000, 8,500, I'll probably just wait for a dip to around 8,000, 8,100 instead of waiting for it to go below that, because I'm not sure if it will or not. And over the long term, that a couple hundred is not really going to make too much of a difference, especially if it doubles in price over the next like 6 months. And my plan is to like as I make some more money and stuff, just put in a little amounts here and there, like every paycheck, maybe put in a certain amount, like 30, even like 20, $30, and then it'll just keep going up, and then I'll probably take out some, depending like after a few months, just to like see a little bit of return on my investment without just like seeing $1,000 go, or $500, $1,000, however much I decide to put in, go away and just be sitting somewhere. Just take out little bits here and there. So the part that's in there is still making money, but I can take out some and kind of get some of that money back, some of that principal. So that's kind of my plan. I don't really know 100% yet because can't predict the future and what's going to happen with it. But yeah, so that's just like kind of a basic. I know this is a long video. This is probably like a 20-minute video, which is I've just been kind of talking for the last 20 minutes. about Bitcoin, but that's my take on it. That's kind of like a beginner's guide. It's not the best. There's probably better guides out there. Because I still don't know 100% about Bitcoin. I'm not an expert, and my thoughts were kind of jumbled in this video. But my friend was interested in it. I hope this clears up some questions. Leave any questions you have in the comments below. I will try to answer them. If not, this is gonna go on the Big Time Clan channel. So there's also Big Time BLand. He probably knows a little bit more than I do about Bitcoin. So he could answer them too, or I could talk to him, and then I could just answer any questions or concerns below. Let me know what you think about Bitcoin. Do you know anything about it? Are you or have you already gotten into it? Or have you never, do you not even know what Bitcoin was before seeing this video? Or are you just like starting and you saw this video because you wanted to know a little bit more, or even what Bitcoin was, which I know is kind of confusing because it's not very mainstream yet, and not a lot of people talk about it. So if you don't kind of look into it for yourself and kind of look around, then you won't really have any concern for Bitcoin, and it won't be very relevant right now. But come in a few years, it might be kind of like everyone might know what Bitcoin is. It might be the next big thing, but only time will tell. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, Anything down in the comments that you guys, any questions or anything, put them down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Big Time Killer. Peace.